Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael and this is Happy Ghost Reacts. I'll be continuing my Kuroko no Basket reaction series with episode 65 called We Are No Longer. Now that's very interesting. I don't know if this is going to be an episode where we start to kind of see the downfall of the Generation of Miracles as a team, or this is between Kuroko and his friend, because of course we still have yet to explore why Kuroko is the reason that his friend quit. Though we did just learn at the end of last episode that his friend lost and they're already having to leave. So I thought we were going to beat them and it was going to be something to do with just how badly they lost to us and it just unmotivated his friend, or whatever the case may be. I'm not too sure. There's still more to be learned about Akashi and his split personalities, or whatever that may mean about him, there being two of him. But yes, we've entered the phase of the backstory where Aomine has lost his motivation to try to play, not showing up to practice, being late slash skipping games, whatever the case may be. We're in that phase of the backstory where that has begun, and that stays consistent up until Kagami beats him. So I imagine that paired with other things that are going to happen are probably going to see some stuff. I don't know. Considering how Akashi treated Izaki, I imagine that there might be something that Akashi is going to start doing towards Aomine because of his attitude, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I'm not too sure what to expect because I didn't expect this to be a 4-episode backstory, but it's a whole little arc right before the final game, so I'm down for it, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I don't really got much else to add. So with that being said, let's jump into episode 65, called We Are No Longer. Let's go. For the second year in a row. So we jumped a lot in the future. Yeah, everybody's attitudes. Yeah. Everybody's attitudes are in a different place. It's just so crazy how sad Aomine looks. So they're just letting Aomine be Aomine and going with it. But it's unfortunate. I don't like seeing Aomine like this. After seeing how fun he was before he started to lose that drive. So the coach knew that he would get into this state. He saw this much potential in him and knew the consequence of him reaching it. He's just saying hold on because that challenge will come, and he will get that feeling again. Well, I mean, he held on and he found that person. The only person who can beat me is Kagami, you know? Damn, twice as many points. Oh, said yes to him. Oh, he seemed to be somebody who helped Aomine a little bit. Oh, the third year's quit because of Akashi? Of course, the classic cough because he's sick. Oh, and he's dead. Oh. Oh, just kidding. He's alive. How tragic. How tragic. So this must be a huge pivot. Wonder if he destroys their team. Because the coach just wanted to make a change, but he didn't get to hear out what change it was and how to help them. So he probably led to their downfall. Now they're all getting into that the headspace of they're all playing for themselves, not as a team. I'm digging the soundtrack in the background though. It's like super ominous. There's this interesting. This is developing his complex that we got to see in the match against him. So we've seen the birth of Aomine's complex that we saw when we first met him, and now Murasaki Bara's, and now we got his headspace. Damn. We're watching as everybody's bad habits come to life. Interesting. I'm not surprised though. A school would most definitely capitalize on something like that. Sports are huge in school. She's already worried about the band breaking up. I mean, yes and no. So Akashi had a family that raised him to have an attitude like this. Got it. Dad set such high expectations it turned his son into a monster, or an emperor, whatever you want to call it. The special treatment. The special treatment led to bad habits that made him spiral out even more. This is just so many bad things happening after another, which explains so much about why the characters were the way they were. One of those conversations where the emotions are gonna make him say something mean. Saying some things. Damn. Having to relive all the sad stuff we've already seen over, but like having more context just makes it shittier. Oh, he actually did stop passing to him after he didn't give him the fist bump? I didn't know that. Wow. I mean, it's just, he's so broken. That's so sad. It's actually super tragic. I feel so bad for him. The snowball effect of decisions. Oh boy. Alright, now we're having... Wow. I didn't realize it fell apart like this, all because of special treatment. Oh shit, he showed off right there. Alright, we're gonna get a one-on-one. But damn, there's so much to unpack this episode. Oh, that's the picture in the shot from the opening from before. Wow, Murasaki Bara actually beat Akashi out? I thought this man never lost. Is this like the birth of Emperor Eye? Yeah, so I'm saying, I thought this man eat, slept, and breathed victory. This has to be the birth of Emperor Eye! Damn! Murasaki Bara is the one who turned Akashi into the monster he is? Imagine if Akashi never experienced this and he just... Wow, I wonder what would have happened different if Murasaki Bara didn't do this. Damn. The ankle breaking? Oh shit! We're seeing the birth of everybody's bad habit this episode. Interesting. This is just like interesting. Okay. So this is the downfall of the team. This is no more teamwork. Everybody's working on their own. Murasaki Bara stressed him out and pissed him off so much, one of his eyes changed colors and he developed superpowers. I mean, if that ain't crazy shit, I don't know what is. Hmm. What an interesting analogy. But this is probably the beginning of what Kuroko said is what he started to hate about the team and basketball. So the moment Emperor Eye came into play is when he became that different person. This is very interesting. No. No, that's actually crazy and tragic how this has gone. Man, everything is just falling apart before my eyes. This is crazy. Oh? So he does have multi-personality?
ただもしそのことを変わったというのならば、それは必要だったからだ。僕が変わったからチームが変わったのではない。チームが変わったから僕も変わったんだ。みんなの
Interesting.
突出した才能が目覚め始め、もはや外に敵はいなくなった。あるとすれば内側だ。大きすぎる力を無理にまとめようとすれば、内部から崩壊する可能性がある。僕らはもう力を合わせるべきではないんだよ。
That's insane.
光と影とも呼べるお前たち二人でも、光だけが強すぎたことで合わなくなっていった。それが光と光ならば、火を見るより明らかだ。
勝つこと以上に大事なことはないんですか？
ない。
Yeah, I mean,
漠然とした理想など無力なだけだ。
this is
その通りなの
a very enlightening
かも
episode.
しれないですね。成長すれば人は変わっていく。なのに僕は全中に優勝する前、あの頃にただ必死で戻りたかっただけなのかもしれません。
もしやめたいのならば止めはしない。だが続けたいのならば受け入れろ。この先も抵抗のシックスマンであり続けたいのなら。
Generation of Miracles backstory, it just goes downhill so fast. What a freaking crazy episode. Well, another fantastic episode of Kuroko no Basket checked off the list. This one is probably one of the most important backstory ones so far. Excuse me, random yawn. But we essentially got to see the birth of everybody's bad habits. Though we did get to start to see Aomine's last episode, we got to see them become more fleshed out, and we had a little bit of a time skip from what I understood at the beginning. And then we got to see a conversation between Aomine and the former coach on how the coach already had an idea of once they reached a certain point of their potential, they would hit this wall because they would outgrow any opponents that they would be playing against, at least for the foreseeable future. And it would ultimately kill their drive to practice, because what's the point? You're very strong. What's the fun of it anymore? It seemed like the entirety of the team got the Saitama complex, like the One Punch Man. It's like once they've reached a certain level, there becomes this lack of enthusiasm, this lack of excitement, love towards something they used to strive for so badly. But once they had it all, for lack of any other way of explaining it, the motivation was gone. And it started with Aomine, which spiraled into Murasaki Bara. Then the coach wanted, he saw this, he acknowledged it with Aomine, and then was going to speak with the person who took over for him about how they can try and keep them together and save them from becoming even worse, and it's spiraling out of control. But then all of a sudden the man just coughed and croaked right then and there, and I mean, he didn't actually die, but he stepped away because of his health. Just all happened very suddenly. It was funny, but also not, because of what happened after. Then it seems like the guy who took over for him wanted what was best for them, even if they didn't see that. But then the school board or the principal or whomever that was, I can't remember who, said that they needed special treatment because as long as they're winning and as long as they're staying on the team, that's all that matters, and it helps the school's reputation as well as other things. And that led to the first super bad decision of everything, I feel, which was after Aomine started to spiral more and more, and then he abandoned practice. He was granted permission to skip practice as long as he showed up to games, and they won, which was very bad. And he even regretted it after the fact, but he had this, obviously, the pressure of somebody higher up than him. just, job security. He had to do what he had to do, because if Aomine wound up leaving, that would lead to a whole other set of issues that could have happened. But instead, it just kind of broke up the team's camaraderie. A lot of what ended up happening was stuff that we already got to see and understand, but getting the origin of it all was crazy. We got to see Murasaki Bara's spiral into how he had the mindset he had, which then led to probably one of the craziest things that I couldn't have expected in all of this, which was the explanation of there's two Akashis, is that he does actually have split personality, and the personality of the Emperor, the one that gives him Emperor eyes and has two different color eyes, came out because of Murasaki Bara's confidence and the 1v1 that he almost swept him a clean 5-0. But that shock and that feeling that Akashi got because he was losing brought out the stronger part of him, for lack of any other way of explaining it, where he became essentially invincible because of his Emperor Eye and his skill on top of that already. And we got to see Midorima and how he was dealing with his own things as well, and then Kisei also dealing with his own things. But like the main three people who had a lot to do with the overall downfall would be Aomine, Murasaki Bara, and Akashi. Because then after that whole 1v1, Akashi's personality obviously changed, as that was kind of the point. And he just said, nobody has to show up to practice anymore. As long as we win, which we will always win, as long as we all show up, we will be good. And that's all that matters. Because each individual player, except for Kuroko, became so overwhelmingly good that it became a clash of heads, no longer necessary to be more than what they already were, which was just players on a team. The companionship, the camaraderie, attempting anything of the sort, the teamwork would probably destroy the team. And with the path that they all ended up walking down because of these unfortunate chain of events, it's probably true. If that coach didn't end up having a sudden health issue right then and there, as he was hopefully trying to save them from his own mistake of pushing them to become these beasts and essentially ruining it for them, things could have wound up a lot different. And I kind of wish that they would rewrite this story in a way that the Generation of Miracle players all had a more happy upbringing, like a happy story, because this is pretty tragic. I didn't realize just how tragic this was going to be, and I feel super bad in hindsight, and it's going to make the rewatchability of this show just that much more impactful, understanding more about the beginnings of all of their negativity and what turned them into the players they were when we played them. And I mean, of course, each of them are getting kind of a redemption after losing to Saren, and of course in this timeline things are looking up for everybody who is lost to us, which is everybody except for Kashi at this point. But just, that was crazy. And still, throughout all this, we still have yet to understand why Kuroko's friend quit playing. Unless I missed it this episode, which I don't think I did. They haven't explained it yet. All we know is that he lost that one national match and they didn't get to play against each other last episode. And that was kind of it. That's nothing that has explained why Kuroko, who claimed he's the one who made him quit, we've not seen that. But nonetheless, we are nearing the end, of course, with the fourth and final episode of the Teiko arc, as you guys have explained. And I'm curious how this wraps up, because this must be a semi-smooth transition from right here into episode 1 of the entire show, where everybody went to their schools and has begun what we have seen to this point. But this type of backstory, I guess it it's always so hard to choose, I feel, when writing a show, when to throw in the important backstory stuff that gives more context to the overarching points of the show and the characters that you're growing and meeting, and or that you're watching grow and meeting along the way. And seeing this arc now just makes everything make a lot more sense and make me feel a lot crappier about what happened to them before this show actually started and took place. But these have been very good, and I've very much enjoyed them regardless of how sad and tragic, and I know I'm using that word a lot, but that's really what this this is clicking in for me, is that it's just so tragic and unfortunate. Everything could have been saved if the coach didn't just up and have some sort of like heart attack and couldn't help them, because there could have been some redemption there, because the coach is realizing that there was something that needed to be done because he'd already made a mistake. He needs to fix it, or at least help them through. So yeah, I don't really got much else to add. I feel like I'm rambling at this point. That's my sign to wrap up, and I'm excited to wrap up this Teiko arc with whatever the last episode has in store of this whole backstory arc. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like to let me know you did. If you haven't already and you'd like to stay up to date on all my future videos, please consider subscribing, ring the bell, and you'll be notified every single time I upload. I also have a Patreon where I post full-length reactions of all the shows I'm watching on YouTube. So if you'd like to watch full-length episodes of Kuroko no Basket with me or any other show I'm watching on YouTube, feel free to check it out. You need your own legal copy of the show to watch along with me. So if you do check it out, keep that in mind. And until next time, with the final episode to this short backstory arc, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and peace.